Fruitful Fridays, June 12th, 2026. This is just going to be an audio recording, and let's just look at it as our book of Bible studies because the way that the real world works and the history of the way the Bible took place in the past is ongoing today. So, as a manner of celebrating the spirit of Faithful and Fruitful Fridays, we are going to visit some themes of our newsletters and missions today in Action and Truth. And again, with the goal of mastering the art of humanity through inclusion and providing a voice for the marginalized. So, Mother Teresa, my mom, God Himself, advises us to do everything with great love as unto God. And I always remind myself of what my mom used to say growing up, Mori chon choni he, which is, take your time, do it right. So I have taken great love and time to pour into addressing issues that are difficult. So here we go. And as always, I love you with the love of Christ. But let's start off with some key verses. So Psalm 118:24, this is the day which the Lord hath made. Psalm 37:5, commit your ways unto the Lord, trust also in him. Psalm 62:8, trust in him at all times. Regarding our mission of inclusion and humanity, Micah 6:8, do justly, love mercy, walk humbly. Romans 12:10, in honor, preferring one another. 1 Corinthians 12:25, no schism in the body, care one for another. Do everything with great love. Like I said, Mother Teresa, my mom, and God says it. 1 Corinthians 16:14, let all your things be done with charity. Colossians 3:23, do it heartily as to the Lord. 1 John 3:18, love in deed and in truth. And again, that honors my mom's famous Korean line, Chon Chuni He. And also verses on addressing difficult issues with courage and truth. Ephesians 4:15, speaking the truth in love. Proverbs 27:6, faithful are the wounds of a friend. Galatians 6:1, restore in meekness. And again, that's kind of backs up everything that I've done. And like I said, I've taken great love and time to pour into addressing issues that are difficult. So just about love, sisterhood, and agape, John 13:34-35 reads, love one another as Christ loved. Romans 12:9 reads, let love be without dissimulation. And 1 Peter 4:8 says, charity covers a multitude of sins. So we're going to talk about, here's the tough part. This is part 2. We're going to talk about the case of, we're going to call him Joseph Mountain Valley. And the topic is managing leaders with character flaws. So the case study is that you observe undue treatment from a leader that impacts you, and you make it known to management. And here are some responses to the communications that you gotten regarding that. Okay, and so let's say we have maybe an assistant manager and an employee. So when a leader behaves unjustly or with character flaws, the verses that deal with that are Proverbs 28:15, a wicked ruler is like a roaring lion. Proverbs 29:2 says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Ecclesiastes 5:8 says, do not be surprised at oppression from officials. Isaiah 10:1 says, woe to those who decree unrighteous decrees. And these anchor the reality of flawed leadership. It's nothing new. Scripture names it plainly. So when you experience undue treatment and bring it to management, here are some verses that help you to reinforce your right to speak truth and seek justice. Proverbs 31:8-9 says, open your mouth for the oppressed, judge righteously. Ephesians 4:25 says, speak truth with your neighbor. Matthew 18:15 says, address issues directly and orderly. Psalms 82:3 says, defend the poor and fatherless, do justice to the afflicted. So we want to make the issues known. So when you're reporting it to that, person that's in a superior position that you respect, these verses will help support clarity, respect, truth, and boundaries. Colossians 4:6, speech seasoned with grace. Proverbs 15:28, the righteous study how to answer. James 3:17, wisdom is peaceable, gentle, and without partiality. Romans 12:18, live peaceably as much as lies in you. And these reinforce a ministry of dignity, truth, and steadiness. And as I'm going through, these are notes that I took maybe a couple of days ago. I'm going to highlight things because Again, these are things that I wouldn't, they're difficult to address because usually when you're in situations where you have to address things like this, there's something that's at stake, right? So when when you're both an employee and a minister to God, you want to maintain professionalism and spirituality. So Colossians 3:23 states, "Work heartily as unto the Lord." 1 Peter 2:19-20 says, "God is mindful when you endure unjust treatment." Galatians 6:9 states, "Do not grow weary in well doing." 1 Corinthians 4:2 states, "Stewards must be found faithful." And these affirm your integrity and calling even in flawed systems. So when you're dealing with leaders who misuse spiritual authority, um, and which is a deeper layer of the case study that we're going to get into when we finally delve into it, we have Ezekiel 34:2-4, "Woe to shepherds who feed themselves and not the flock." Then Jeremiah 23:1, "Woe to pastors who scatter the sheep." Matthew 23:3-4, "Leaders who say but do not do." And these verses do validate the seriousness of the issue. The primary thing a lot of us go through when we report things, and it's scary to me, that goes anywhere from sexual abuse, harassment, bullying, and especially when you have marginalized individuals, those are things that happen a lot of times. So we're going to go into the case study a little bit. Um, and this is kind of off the wing and by the fly, so hopefully it makes sense. The individual reported, a situation that happened. The person that was in management responded back. Instead of addressing the issue, "He may have character flaws, but so do you and so do I. None of us are perfect." And the individual responds, "Well, that's not a topic of consequence." Then, um, yeah, I don't think I'm ready for this yet. Because there's a lot, and I think I need to take it piece by piece. So I'm going to break it down, and I'm glad I'm at the point where I am. But thanks anyway if you stop by. We're going to cut this for now. I love you all. Have a great night.